feel like sometimes we take ownership when we achieve something or we go and find our goal. We're in this great place and we're like, yeah, I created it. But then what happened when we end up in places that we don't like, that we just feel trapped or we feel stuck or we feel we're in a situation where we feel like the victims of it. So are we creating that? I feel we are creating all of that too. So I feel like by taking that ownership of those situations, we take that energy that is there, that is huge, and we give it back to us instead of blaming others or putting someone else to take ownership. So when
I
I
first encountered this concept, um, I create everything in my life, the good, the bad, the ugly. I resisted it so much because, I've had a ton of things in my life that I feel like I have been a victim of. So I had Lyme disease. Did I create my Lyme disease? My ex cheating on me. Did I create that? But I resisted owning those things of being the creator of my life in those ways. But like you were saying, I'm so proud of being able to I've created this life of travel. I've created this life of freedom. I've created, all these things I'm proud of. I for sure own. Of course I created that. But these other things that felt like they were done to me, like a tick bit me. I have Lyme disease. My husband cheated on me. I'm divorced. These didn't feel like choices that I made or anything that I would have ever wanted to create. But once I started looking more closely at it, once we start having these conversations, I could see where choices I made, things that I felt, decisions that I agreed to led to this creation of my
Mhm.
life.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it's, again, taking ownership of your own life. So by taking ownership of your own shed, whatever it is, then you're just responsible for it. Then you have that power of everything that you're harnessing. And then, like, the only one responsible for it is you. So it's difficult to have that ownership for something that makes you suffer or something that creates pain in you, because it's like, ooh, did I do this to myself? And then when you do something shitty to someone, sometimes we deflect or we try to create ourselves a story that, like, well, I was not that shitty, I was not that bad. But then it is that part of you that is, well, I'm always going to justify, I'm always going to find the guilty, I'm always going to find to accommodate everything so I can feel good to myself for what I am. But I feel that's our ego, that's our part that wanted to create this persona of being rightful and being the hero and being like, I'm okay, I'm cool, and
Yeah.
everything is fine. But I feel in there, the only thing that we're doing is just taking this much of responsibility, this much of energy, and at the same time, this much of power. So you're just like a passenger in a big boat of people, and you're just letting them take you to whatever. And then, like, oh, why did I end up here? Like, oh shit, why didn't I pursue my dream? And
And then you get to blame all these other people that are in this boat with you.
right,
And so in that way, it feels like we actually don't believe that you can ever really give your power away, but it can feel like that. Because, and well, let's talk about this for a second. What do we define as power?
right,
Because I think that power can be such one of those trigger words like, the government is powerful and they have control over all these things and they're going to take our rights away. I mean, I feel like some Americans right now are really afraid of their rights getting taken away. Are all the
or
world?
Mexicans too.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, like we just define power as the government. Like people in power,
Control.
they already decide
Right.
everything in here. But then it's just like that's the definition of power.
So what's ours?
Right.
Right. So I feel like what we define as power is using our own innate personal energy to create our own lives. And we can do this consciously or we can do this unconsciously. But the way we take our power back is to do it consciously. And we take responsibility for everything that we've created in our lives. And then we continue to take that responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if we take responsibility, again, we take all that energy that we gave to different characters in our lives, different situations. We scatter all of our energy and like we just shared like a pie and just like this piece goes to this guy and these things go to this situation or my parents or whatever. And then you ended up with this piece of energy that is just too small to create anything because you give it to everyone else. But if you can take it back and it's just like, well, now because my parents treat me in this way, I can get this little learning and I can just healing in this way. So you take your energy, you do something with it. And if someone did something to you, you can say, well, you can see the learning of it and knowing that you're orchestrating all of that through a higher self. Then I'm not saying it is like easy or quick. And honestly, I feel so shitty taking ownership of things that I have done and I just don't feel proud. And then I feel ashamed of like, oh fuck, like I have to like take ownership of this. That means that this action that I did defined me. And then how can I continue with it if I know that I'm this? Ooh. And then it's going through that process of knowing that because you know, because you put your light on it, then you can choose. Then it doesn't own you. It doesn't define you. Then you choose what to use with the energy that you have.
And I feel like once you take responsibility and ownership for things that maybe you're not so proud of, or you see there's a pattern that keeps happening in your life and you're like, okay, I don't want this pattern anymore. And the only thing that's the same throughout these things is me. And you find out, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for this. I'm going to figure out where it is, why I behave this way. Then you can change those patterns in your life.
Right.
And I really feel like responsibility for our feelings, our beliefs, our actions is really the very first step, the very first overall thing to start doing. And then you just keep digging, and you find more and more and more.
Yeah. And life could be like a ride test. So you can just do it and put it in action. And like, oh my God, why today? Oh, because you were saying that and you can apply it now. And
I mean, it happened today.
yeah, it happened today.
Had a test. We did the script, decided what we wanted to say, and then Alonzo got a test.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And I could easily blame someone to do something that I thought it was common sense. So I assume she was going to act a certain way, but then he acts different because his common sense is not the same as mine. And his morality is not the same as mine. And because I assume, I give the responsibility to him to take the decision that I should take before when I saw it. And then, anyway, I created that situation and I can own it. And then I can just release it. And I can let it go because it's mine.
And it feels powerful. Taking the responsibility back and at the same time forgiving yourself. I don't know. It kind of goes hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
And it just feels like it released, like this huge emotional release and empowering.
Yeah. And then you're not holding into someone else's actions. You're not hanging on the suffering that someone else imposed on you. You're not a victim anymore. You're not in the chains of victimhood. You're just like seeing it and you're like, okay, I took back this piece. How can I use it? And I feel like we're going to talk more about that.
Oh, for sure. We'll talk more about that.
But now I think...
Kind of like what you said, the pie.
The pie.
Yeah.
But now I think we're going to cruise around and see what beauty we can find.
Yeah.
So we can share it
Yes.
with you.